Greetings, barbecue family. Welcome to another live episode of the Backyard SmokeMaster BBQ Podcast. I'm your host, Kenyatta Robinson, and I'd like to welcome you all who are tuning in live on YouTube as well as Facebook. We've got a very special episode for you tonight. We're going to get into competition barbecue and why this is something that you may want to take on. If you've been barbecuing and you're a serious, barbecue hobbyist, maybe this is something you can do that'll take your barbecue to the next level. And I know that it's really exciting. I do have a guest, Jerad Linnell, and we'll get into talking to him. He's got some experience barbecuing. But before I bring him in, I do want to invite you all to join in the comments, ask questions as we go through. As I say every week, your questions, your comments are really the engine that drives the show. So enough of me yakking here. Let me bring in Jerad. All right, Jerad, how you doing, man? Oh, I'm messing up already. Sorry, had you on mute. Let's try that again. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Kenyatta? Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you coming in. And let me just kind of, give folks a little bit of background. So I mentioned, I think on the last podcast, I mentioned that I had traveled down to Southern California for a big barbecue birthday bash being held, and for a friend of the podcast, Joe Silva of Q Billy's Barbecue. And he had a bunch of folks there, and I met Jerad. And, as Jerad was talking to me, he was talking about some stuff that, I thought, oh man, it just sounds like you're talking about the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. And I finally realized that Jerad is actually a society brother. And as we got to talking more, and, he was talking about competition barbecue, I thought it would be fantastic to get him onto the show. So Jerad, let me just start by asking you, and again, thank you for coming on. So before we get into the nitty gritty, how long have you been doing competitive barbecuing, and what got you started? What got you into it?
Well, actually, I compete with myself every day when I barbecue. I was trying to make something better, so it's just always in competition with myself. But competitively with other teams and having a team, me and my teammates, we got started into it probably about a year ago. Last June, let's say like about 10 months ago, my buddy Garrett called me on the phone some Sunday afternoon, and I was kind of just wondering what to do, and he called me and asked me if I wanted to jump on a competition team with them, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like a pretty amazing opportunity. I had tossed around some of the ideas before, but I just never got the nerve to do it on my own. But when he asked me to do it with him, I jumped at the opportunity to take care of it, and I've loved every minute ever since we got into it.
Okay, so about a year. So you're still pretty new to it. About how many contests do you think approximately have you been in so far?
So we did two KCBS competitions last year, and then we've done probably, I say, like 4 or 5 of kind of local competitions like chili cook-offs and tri-tip competitions, and then some local barbecue places they've hosted some competitions to help promote the restaurant and the competition scene. But so we've been doing some of those also. You can find a bunch of them all over the place, but you could look on the internet in your local area and find them.
Okay, now let's get into like your very first time. Your first time competing. So what was that experience like, and was it how you anticipated it being, or was it a lot different?
It was very intimidating the first time we got into it, because it was a KCBS one, and with a KCBS one, you're in it with the big boys. So KCBS, they have a backyard series, and they also have the master series. The backyard series is I believe it's just ribs and chicken, and then the master series is ribs, chicken, pork, the money muscle, and brisket. So you have those 2 extra longer cooks in that one. But so the guys that we competed against, I believe a couple of them ended up going to the Jack show, which is or the Jack competition, which is in October. But to qualify for the Jack, you have to win and place in some of these things, and they draw a lottery ticket. And if they draw your number, then you get invited to go to the Jack Invitational over. I believe it's in it's over there in the southeast somewhere, and so it's pretty nerve wracking. So we got into it, and I got graced with chicken at first. And were you asking a question?
Oh, no. But actually, let's kind of back out a little bit. So actually, let me, since you mentioned the Kansas City Barbecue Society, and so for those who, who are just maybe thinking about, getting into competitive barbecue, I mean, basically, I think KCBS is generally regarded as like I guess like the gold standard or the industry standard for competitive barbecue. And they do have a website, looks like it's www.kcbs.us, and you can go on there and get more information. I know KCBS has cooking classes that they put on around the country. They also have classes where you can learn how to become a certified barbecue judge, which is something that I did a number of years ago. So as far as so this was your first time competing. It was in a KCBS sanctioned event, and I assume that's for you guys. What were you guys in the competing with other backyard cooks? Is that what you first started off competing in?
No, we jumped right into the Master Series. So
wow. Okay.
I wanted to do the Backyard Series, but my buddy was like, no. We're going for the Gusto, and we jumped right into the Master Series. So we got a team of 4 people together, and we all took on one cook. So we were all turning things separately and at separate times, whatever. But it worked out. It was fun. Basically, it was a weekend of just hanging out with your friends and turning some things into people you've never met before, which is the weird part about it, because that's where it's a lot of guessing. But kind of you talked about being a judge previously, and that's kind of something I want to do probably pretty soon. But you just got to find one that's close to where you live. And if you are interested in doing a competition and you see that there's a KCBS judging class somewhere close to where you are, jump on that right away, because they don't come up that often around these parts. Back east in some of the areas, they're everywhere, but in California, it's not as easy to come across.
Absolutely. Actually, that's pretty much my story. I live in Clayton, California, which is a very small city in the Bay Area. I think there's like maybe 15,000 people that live here, and I started seeing postings about the KCBS judging class being held right here in Clayton, of all places. So I jumped on that. I think I've only seen classes maybe in a couple of other cities in the Bay Area, but you're right, they're not super frequent. So if you do see it, definitely jump on that when you can. I think if you on that website, you would probably be able to find information about different classes around that you might be able to participate in. So when you guys did your when you did that first competition, you said you guys were a team of 4, and I'm guessing you did. What did you do? You guys, did you do brisket?
Ribs,
chicken,
and then pork. So
pork.
You used to have to, like, previously for a KCBS, you used to have to cook the butt whole, and you have to separate the money muscle out of it after you're done cooking it. But now they allow you to separate the money muscle from the pork butt or the shoulder. So you could have 2 separate cooks, and you could turn in some pulled sections, and but mostly they're looking for the money muscle when you're doing competition.
Okay, and how did you guys do?
So, like, there were I want to say like 45 teams, and I think we finished like 29th out of 45, which I was pretty happy about that, because you got the KCBS. It's a rating system like of 1 to 9, but they there's 4 categories. There's is it 3 or 4? There's taste, there's texture, and appearance. They're just 3, but they all have a different a scale, let's say, like, just for example, like the tenderness is like 2.65, and so like each judge times your score times 9 times 2.65, and so you get down to the nitty gritty of like 0.25 of points that separates places. So we were like at 30 out of 45, but like we're probably, I would say, probably 10 points from being in the top 10. So it's pretty, it's crazy how the scoring system is. But I was happy with where we finished, because it was the first one, and the other guys, they do it for, that's what they do for their career. They travel around the country and they compete, and that's how they make money. So, but for our first one, I was pretty satisfied. As long as we weren't last, I was good with that.
Right, exactly. So, if someone out there is thinking about, getting involved, maybe trying to do competitive barbecue, like what advice would you give them? What should they be thinking about doing?
I would say if you could find a class, take a class, because you could, the flavor profile for the KCBS judges is I wouldn't cook it for my family, because it's let's say overcooked, because it's like everything is about 205, and maybe some more, like kind of more on the salty side, and it's not your like anything I would really get to my family. So if you could find a class to take, or just even like a local competition of just seeing how the process goes of everything behind the scenes of the back end of it, so you could look at how to present everything and make it look good, because we eat with our eyes first, and all the appearance is the lowest of all the scores. We eat with our eyes first, so if it doesn't look good when you're first taking a bite, then it just kind of changes everything. But also, like, if you're gonna do it with a team, get 3 guys that you could hang out with for a weekend, because you're gonna be it's a grind, because when the clock starts ticking of we got our turn ins, because you got to start pulling everything off, and you really got to communicate with each other, and you got to be open to constructive criticism, because it is a team thing. You're all doing individual things, but you got to listen to some constructive feedback to help you improve and make everything better. And you can't have any feelings about what you've done. You got to try to take all the feedback and just improve on it.
Right. So, like you mentioned, so you're basically going to be out there, all day. So you got to make sure that, these are guys that you vibe with. So, like, what time did you start? Like, when did you guys first arrive? How did your day start?
So, well, the loading for those things is the day before, because you have to go and you have to get your pit set up. So we went the day before. I would say, because they start doing meat inspections the day before, I'd say probably about 2:00 in the afternoon, and local time. Every KCBS stuff it's all in the time frames are all the same based off the local time. So the meat inspections, they start about 2:00. So and that you have to have everything set up by, I want to say, like 6:00 local time, because they don't want a bunch of people coming in and disrupting everything if when people are trying to get settled in. So we got there the day before, but then we hung out and and met some other teams and just kind of figured it out. But I would say we probably started our I think the brisket turn-in was at it was at 1:00, but we did it more of a hot and fast. It was only 8-hour cook, so we got everything kind of going probably around 4:00 in the morning, I would say, just to make sure as far as the longer cooks go, and then like the chicken and the ribs aren't as long of a cook, but you probably need about like 4 hours to get a good rib good rib cook, and then I'd say like maybe like 2-3 for chicken.
Okay. All right, so we do have a question coming in. This is from Correctional Officer for Lockdown. What is the most popular type of grill or smoker you've seen being used at competitions?
I see a lot of people using barrel smokers.
Yeah.
Like the pit barrels, and but a lot of, I think the Hunsaker smokers. I've seen a lot of those. I can't remember the name of the other one off the top of my head, but
Probably
They seem
Gateway, probably.
there you go. Yep,
Yeah.
Gateways. That's it. Gateway
Right.
drums are they're pretty prevalent on the scene. You would think that you see a bunch of offset, but I think it's just the barrels are they're very efficient, and for like if you're they're like more like you can do like more like hot and fast, and it just and they're more pourable and they're easier to manage. You don't have to mess around with it too much.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned, hot and fast, especially, you're considering you're doing briskets. You said basically it sounded like you kind of got it started the day of as far as being at the site at like 4 a.m. Like, is there like
Yeah.
an official, is that when everyone starts? Like, or is it?
I'd say probably about the same time. Because hot and fast when I say for brisket is you're cooking a brisket in hours, which like you're all those boys in Texas, they're at least probably 12-hour cooks for a brisket. If you do just one
Right.
for yourself, whatever. So like 8 hours isn't really fast, but for brisket it is, and you're separating the point and the flat from each other, so it's not a whole brisket. It's like portions of it. So, but the preferred turning section for that is the flat for a brisket.
Okay. So now that you've gotten a few competitions under your belt, like, how do you decide which barbecue competitions to enter? Or is it just, are you just going off of things that are close to you, or do you guys have like a way to choose?
It's based off the KCBS because in California there's only there's one in April, I believe. Like there's the one down in the Horse Brew and Q Bar that one's in June, and then there's another one in September, and I think there might be one more in May. So from now until September, there's only 4 KCBS competitions out here. So there's not in my neck of the woods in Southern California. I think there's some more up north, but you have to travel for those. So mostly it's just ones that are local and close for us, and we haven't really got to the point where we're going to travel yet. But we could travel to Arizona when we kind of get our thing together, but we haven't really made that jump yet.
Right. So just to kind of give you guys, a little bit more information. Hold on, that's not what I wanted. There we go. So in addition to KCBS, which is kind of like the national arbiter, or the, like I said, the gold standard of competitive barbecue, then, depending on what state you're in, most likely the state you're in probably has its own barbecue association. Like here in California, we've got the California Barbecue Association, and you can go on their website, and here you can see, like in California, you can see a list, of California. I see even one here for Yuma, Arizona. But you can see like some competitions that are happening, in and around California. And then also, I know California Barbecue Association, I know they also have classes. So like here on their website, well, they don't have any listed, but okay, they do have a few classes. So, if you do want to get information about classes or events that are happening near you, check out your state's barbecue association. That'll be a good way to get some information that way. Okay. So what does a typical competition prep, look like for you? Like, what type of gear, do you guys need to make sure you have with you?
Well, just anything you probably use to cook in your backyard. But like for brisket, a lot of guys use the electric knives just to get the consistent like slices on the thing, so you're not it has to be, everything has to be uniform. So a lot of people are using the electric, like the turkey electric slicing knives that go back and forth really quick.
Right.
I see a lot of guys. We just got one of those, and you just got to practice with that just to make sure you get the process down. Like you can trim everything before you don't have to trim everything on site. You could trim it before, but so like you probably want to get some like a vacuum sealer or some sealer bags, so because you don't want it just sitting in your refrigerator collecting all the flavors from your refrigerator. So you want to seal everything up if you prep it a couple days before. A good boning knife probably. And so like and to be honest with you, as much disposable stuff as you possibly can on the day of the cook. We got a bunch of disposable cutting boards and a bunch of wire racks. I actually have one right here. They look like this. It's like a little wire cooling rack you can get for $1, just because if your fire gets too hot, you want to be able to move it away from wherever it is if that ends up being the case. But you don't want to have a bunch of stuff where you got to take home and clean, because it is pretty exhausting. At the end of the day, like when you get home, after both of the KCBS one, I was beat for a day or two afterwards. So it's just a mental grind, you know.
And then, so what about the meat selection? Like, do you guys choose your own meat, or does do the event organizers provide the meat? How does that work?
You choose your own. If the Wagyu and like prime stuff are obviously ideal, but they get a little bit more expensive just because they're more expensive cuts. But yeah, you're able to choose your own. For pork, Duroc, I think Compart Duroc is a lot of people are using that. And as far as chicken goes, I don't know what a lot of people are. Maybe Prairie Fresh. I think that sounds familiar. But then as far as the Wagyu goes, like Steak River Farms, if you get anything that high end, is you get what you pay for. It's obviously higher quality stuff, so it almost kind of cooks itself. To be honest with you, if you ever cooked one of those, they're pretty amazing.
Right. What type of mistakes do you think most beginners make, or like what have you guys learned? You know, from as you've gone from like your first competition and then you've progressed. You know, what kind of things have you learned not to do that you were doing early on?
Well, it's mostly time management, to be honest with you, because you got so it's all stagger in like hour increments. So you have to build a competition box, which is a styrofoam box, and you kind of like fill it with kale or something like that, and make it look pretty and set the stuff on there. But you got to figure out the especially on the warmer ones, you don't want it sitting out in the sun all the time. So you have to dial all that stuff in and do all figure out the proper time to get all the stuff taken care of, so you're not scrambling around at the last minute trying to figure everything out. Mm-hmm. So as far as like the procos, it just you definitely want to practice and stick to what you've written down and what notes you're taking. The last thing you want to do is get right in the middle of something and start going off course and try and change something. But obviously you have to make some adjustments, because it's pit management, and sometimes the weather impacts how quick stuff gets done. So you really got to pay attention to it, and you can't be like wandering off and doing things. Like once it's on the fire and you're rocking and rolling, you gotta stay close to it, and also communicate with your teammates what your plan is. So if you have to go away for the bathroom or something like that, we know what to do and how to get through certain portions of it. So.
Right. What type of what cookers do you guys use?
I did chicken, so I stuck with a Weber kettle.
Okay.
Because that's the thing I'm most familiar with. I want to get into a drum smoker. I just haven't. I've got to figure out which one I want to get rid of from my backyard, because I got 7 of them like everyone else probably, and bringing a new smoker to the backyard probably not going to be making my wife too excited. So. But I do eventually want to get into a barrel smoker. But two of my teammates, they use actually 3 of them. We use 2 barrels, and I had the 2 Webers going.
Okay, and okay. So I assume everybody's bringing at least one smoker, one grill smoker to the competition.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you kind of touched on this earlier, but what types of things do you think the judges are looking for in terms of the flavor profile?
I haven't really figured that out yet because that's been like the as far as the flavor goes, that's been like, not that it doesn't taste good, but I don't think it's quite what they're looking for. I was putting some stuff on the bottom of it that I think I finally realized that's probably what it was, because they said there was a weird off flavor that they weren't expecting. Not that it was bad, but I put some stuff that kind of tastes like had a little cherry flavor to it, and I don't think they were expecting it, so it kind of threw off their palate a little bit. So, but I think they're mostly looking for obviously for flavor, and then the next thing one is the texture of it. Everything has to be bite through, so you really got to be on point with the texture of everything.
Right. And just so you guys know, like the judges get like a scorecard, and they provide, they write down their score. And then there's also a section where judges can provide comments as well. So you guys, I assume, I assume you're finding the comments to be helpful that you guys get back.
If they leave any,
Yeah.
So the first one, because it's all by different. So like the first turn in is I believe is chicken at, like, let's say 10:30. So it's like 10:30 chicken, 11:30 ribs, 12:30 the pork, and then like 1:30 for brisket. So each one has their own turn their scorecards for each separate one, and so you get feedback off of each separate turn in. So like but on the first one for chicken, I didn't really get a whole lot of feedback, but it was all positive. Like, it was like, like good flavor, very tender, bite through, all the stuff that you would want to see. And so, but like, why, then you look at your score, it's like, why did it score low on certain categories if I'm getting all this positive feedback? So it's kind of like almost diabolical, if you want to say it, but it's just, so. But then on the second one, I actually got some feedback, and it said there was some sort of off flavor, and I walked through my cook and everything like that, and I'm like, oh, that's probably what it is. So I'm really looking forward to our next KCBS one, because the only thing I'm going to do different is I'm going to take that piece of it out and see how we do. I think I was like that close away from probably being top 10 from chicken, but it's just we'll see.
Now, you mentioned a few times that the judges are looking for, and it has to be bite through. So tell the viewers what do you mean by that? Like in terms of bite through, let's just say for chicken.
So like with chicken, when this is kind of funny. My friend who asked me to compete with them, he goes like, I'm gonna give you the easiest one. I know you're busy with your starting your business and all this and that, whatever, and I'm going to give you the easiest one. And he goes, you can do chicken, which I like chicken anyway. So it was like sweet. So I quickly learned that chicken isn't easy for competition. So the idea behind bite through chicken is when you take a bite of the chicken thigh, is bone-in chicken thigh, and you take a bite of it, and the skin can't come off when you bite. So you bite, and everything has to go like you're biting an apple almost, and it just everything, the skin has to stay attached to the meat of the chicken, and it's very challenging, and the process of getting to that point it takes a minute to because you have to trim the chicken thighs a certain way.
Right. And then what about what about like for ribs? So because a lot of folks like the fall off the bone variety. I don't know that necessarily flies, when you're doing competition. Like how would you define like a good bite on a rib?
Just a little bit of just a little bit of a bite, not where it kind of melts in your mouth, but just a little bit of bite to it. I would say probably the texture of the chicken and the ribs are pretty similar, because it's just that bite through where you kind of get that bite, but it's pretty not super tender, but not like melt in your mouth tender.
Mm-hmm. And then when you guys are doing the brisket, so I mean, you mentioned earlier, generally, especially because of the time constraints, you're probably going to be cooking it, hot and fast, or definitely hotter, than you necessarily would at home. So I'm curious, in order to help get your brisket tender, I mean, are you guys wrapping in foil or butcher paper or doing a foil boat? What's the secret to getting a tender brisket, for a competition?
All the above that we did, like they call it the crunch. You gotta use the crunch there, and because you can't sit there and wait for the stall. As soon as it my guess is you probably practice it in your where you're gonna cook from, probably previously most likely. But so you should know about when your brisket's gonna stall based off of what you're cooking on. Like on mine, for example, mine usually get to about 165 and then they don't stall. Some people have where theirs gets to like 125 and it stalls, but you should know where it's going to stall. And right when it hits that temperature, it's best to put it in butter and everything else and wrap it just to get it through so it carries through quicker. And to be honest with you, you would think that they're looking for a bark and the smoke ring, but they don't care about any. They don't seem to care about much of the bark or this smoke ring for the KCBS, which is kind of contrary for brisket, but it's kind of throws you off a little bit.
So you think the the emphasis is more on taste and tenderness?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely it is. And then like the lowest of the three scores is appearance. So.
And then you mentioned early on um, that how you cook or the flavors that you cook, for competitions are not necessarily the way that you would cook like for your family at home. So like what are some of the key differences?
Well, I with the chicken, for example, I wouldn't take all the time to prep all the chicken the way you do for competition because you have to separate the skin from the thigh, and then there's the fat underneath that rests underneath the skin, and you've got to scrape all that stuff off, all that fat underneath it, and it's pretty time consuming. And then you got to square it up and then wrap it back around, and then you brine it I brine it for like an hour. And then after I brine it, then I put everything back together, and probably about an hour before I start my cook for the chicken, I inject it with like a little butter concoction that we created together. And so I wouldn't do any of that for if I'm cooking at home. At home I might brine it, but I'm not gonna go through all of it for chicken to inject all this stuff like that. And then for brisket, you're separating the point and the flat, but and you're building up that bark on at home brisket, and that's where all the flavor is, if you ask me. But in the KCBS scene, that's not really not that really big of a deal. So you're not turning in something with a bunch of bark on it. So, but that's what I like about brisket is the bark.
Exactly, and that's kind of a point of pride, actually. Um, all right, so we got another question. So for a 3 to 4 man team, how would you decide parts? Like who's doing what, manning the grill, prepping the meat, etc. Like how do you guys organize yourselves?
For us, we had a 4 man team, so we just all managed our own cook, and we wrote down our.
Oh, okay. Let's see what happened here. Looks like we got disconnected from Jerad. He's calling back. Hold on. All right, hold on.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Let me get you back. Okay, you're back. All right, we're good. Got video, got sound. So you were just starting to answer that question.
So we managed our own cooks, but we wrote down on a piece of paper what the process is and what time we should do what for each separate one, just so everybody's kind of familiar with each other, how everyone's going to cook it. But I would say probably if you only have 3 people, I would say whoever's doing ribs and chicken you could probably manage that on one grill because chicken's kind of, it doesn't take up a lot of space, but for the brisket you want a smoker probably dedicated just for the brisket, and same for the pork because you're cooking the money muscle and the rest of it, and just deciding what portion of it you want to turn in. I would say like 99% of everyone turns in money muscle, but they include some pulled sections if they turns out the way they want it to. But so like the thing is you have to turn in 6 pieces of whatever it is that you're cooking, and the judges they'll only take 1 bite. So if you turn in 6 pieces of the money muscle and some pulled sections, the judge might take a bite of the money muscle, or they might take a bite of the pulled section, but they're not going to take a bite of both. So both things better be on point. So with that said, if you go back and look at your scorecard and it says that, say for example, the pork has a off flavor or the texture of the pork is off, you won't know if it's the money muscle or if it's the pulled section because you turn in 2 of them. So it's not super ideal to turn in 2 separate ones unless they're both like absolutely outstanding.
Okay. Now take us through, on competition day, just kind of take us through like what the whole day looks like from start to finish, so everyone can kind of get an idea of how the day is going to go and what you're going to be doing, the main points.
Well, it's a blur.
Right.
As soon as that first pick gets fired up, it's just you're rock and rolling pretty much, trying to just manage the. It's really about time management, to be honest with you. You have to, and that's why you have to communicate with your teammates, because like they need to know like where you are. And what I would say to if anybody with a 3 or 4 person team is there's certain things that everyone is going to have. Your pit gloves, your temp spike, however you want to do it, your temperature probe, like your gloves, like whatever the nylon gloves or whatever else it is, and then your own set of tongs, all the stuff you use to cook at your house. Everybody should have their own, because there were a couple times where one of our teammates forgot to bring their, and so I had them using mine, but there was times when I really needed it and I had to go around and look to find the temperature probe. So it's kind of frustrating to have to look for that right when you're like, I need it now, because like for example, for the chicken, I was flipping my chicken around every 30 minutes or so just to make sure it's kind of consistent on both sides. But every 30 minutes I was taking the temperature, because I want to know if do I need to back off the heat? Do I need to kind of choke out the smoker a little bit? But when you're looking around for your temperature probe, it's kind of frustrating, because it's like, especially with chicken, because like really minutes and sometimes seconds really matter, because you start getting over like on the way over done side, then you're asking for trouble.
So what time do you get up? Like, because you said you get there, I think you said you get there at like 4.
4 in the morning.
4 in the morning. So what are you getting up at like 2?
So we slept on site on both these last ones.
Oh, okay.
But,
Okay.
I'm not doing that anymore, because that's just, you end up not sleeping.
Yeah.
You start hanging out with all your friends, and the time flies so fast, and you start walking around and chatting with the other teams, and it just time goes by so fast, and before you know it, it's 2:00 in the morning. You're like, oh shit, dude, we got to be up at 4:00 in the morning. I'm gonna go try to get a couple hours of sleep, but it's hard to do, because then you start getting the drilling going and everything else. So, but I would say probably, like, it just depends on where you're at, and I would really suggest if you can avoid sleeping on site to do that. But if you're serious about it, but if you're just going there to have fun, then definitely stay there on site and just kind of take it all in, because it is a lot of fun, and you do meet a lot of amazing people, and yeah,
right,
make some friends.
All right, now Garrett asks, how do you deal with annoying competition partners? It sounds like maybe this is some inside joke, maybe.
That's my that's the guy who got me into that's Garrett. He's the guy that got me into the competition stuff.
Got it. Cool.
Garrett's not annoying. He's a talker. And he's so we're gonna change our team name to where the F is Garrett, because we're always looking for him. But no, but he's there when it's, the shit hits the fan, all this stuff, whatever. He's there right in the thick of it. So like I love the guy to death, and it's but you just kind of have to laugh it off and just kind of sort your way through it. But like I said, everybody should know what they're doing, and if anything like that happens, you could just kind of take over and help out and step in where you need to.
Right. Okay. So now let's kind of back out a little bit. So I mean, you obviously you enjoy doing the competitions, and you're very serious and passionate about barbecue. So what are your other connections to barbecue?
So one of the main reasons why I want to get into the barbecue stuff is I started a barbecue utensil business called Grill Spec. It's that banner behind me. I don't know if you can see it. There you go, Grill Spec.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is, I invented a basting brush system where it's basically a ladle and all the three major brush attachments interlock inside there. So if you can see it right there, he's holding the brush, and that brown thing, the little area right in the middle of it, that's a board bristle brush. But that brush slides out of the ladle, and then you could put the silicone one back into it, and also the mop back into it. So I really kind of wanted to get into it to start networking and sharing my invention with other people, and it's a good opportunity for that sort of networking. So that's kind of the idea behind that. So, other than that, then I really, to be honest with you, I just love cooking and like I love putting a smile on people's faces.
Right.
So, and that's kind of what it's all about.
Okay. So guys, check out Grill Spec. Just go to grillspec.com, and it's spelled just like it shows there on the site here, GRILLSPEC, and you can check it out. And I think it's available at some retail locations.
Yep.
All right, so we got some locations there. Looks like in Southern California. And then if somebody's watching and they're interested, if then they're not in California, are they able to order it direct off of the website?
Yeah, you can order if you go on the link on our Instagram page. There's a Linktree account on there. You can order. It'll take you to our landing page. If you click on the Linktree there, it shows you all. Excuse me. All those same places, and then the first one is our landing page. But if you go back, the very last one is Walmart Marketplace, and it'll take you directly to almost to the cart that you don't really need to do with on the very last one. If you click on that last one, it'll take you to the almost to the checkout. All you got to do is just click on that, add to cart, and you're on your way. So you'll see the price on there. We retail for $34.99, but so with Walmart Marketplace, anything more than $35 is free shipping. So I put it at $35.01 just to include free shipping for everyone. So they take care of shipping.
Nice. Okay, and it looks like so in addition to the brush, like I see some more stuff here. It's like a whole set.
Yeah. So like so you got the two brushes, and then you can use just a ladle it's great for soup and chili and all that stuff, whatever. I keep telling people you can use it to make pancakes, but I haven't done that yet because my wife, she really usually handles the breakfast duties, but I also use the ladle to measure beef patties for making hamburgers. It just makes it easy. Like you're not gonna do it for your family, but if you're trying to cook for like 15 people or more or whatever, it's nice to know how much stuff you need. So if you pack ground beef inside the ladle, 2 pounds will make about 7 patties. So you can just kind of plan and organize it that way. And also the cup there, and then the ladle rests inside the handle of the cup. And what I really like about this my system and kind of the idea behind it is once you brush the chicken or ribs or whatever else it is you're brushing, the brush never actually touches the sauce, so you don't contaminate your sauce. A lot of people are out there making all kinds of crazy, amazing barbecue sauces, and the last thing you want to do is have to discard it after you're done with it because you've been dipping your brush in there all the time and
Right.
contaminating it. But with that, it doesn't get contaminated because and you can actually reuse it again.
Okay. All right, guys. So make sure you support support and check it out. Check it out. So again, I'll put the links up here in the show notes as well, so that you guys can also get connected to this product. And then also, I'm trying to get back to the. Hold on, I got different stuff popping up on me here, but okay. And then also, you can check it out on Instagram. The handle is Grill Spec. You can get more info, and I'm gonna follow you right now so that I can stay up to date on what's happening there. All right, so getting back to competition barbecuing, guys, please jump in here with your questions. If you got any burning questions, definitely let us know. We'll try and answer them. And it doesn't just have to be about, competition barbecue. It can also just be about anything, barbecue related. Jerad and I will try our best to answer the question. And if we don't have an answer, there's usually someone else who's watching in the community who does have an answer. So definitely do that. So getting back to competition barbecue, what's one thing you wish you knew that you know now, but that you didn't know before your first competition?
I don't think it's really like I didn't realize how addictive it is. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love doing it. I can't. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't redo anything as far as the competitions. Hopefully as time progresses, we'll get better and we'll get better results as far as our tournaments go. But I love it. For anyone listening and they're kind of don't know what to do with, just jump into a backyard one or find a local one in your area and just get after it. And I appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you.
Absolutely. Right on, Jeff. Thanks for the support. Absolutely.
Jeff, if you have any questions about it, just let me know. I'll send you a video because the mop portion of it actually comes apart, so to keep it sanitized. But I don't want to it takes a minute to explain. I don't want to do it on here, but I'll put together a video. And if you follow me on Instagram and just let me know that you order my thing, I'll shoot you a video on how to take the brush apart, the mop portion of it out. So when you get it, you can make it easy to clean.
All right. What is the most plain grill or smoker you have seen at a competition that actually won or scored high? Something that was basic or looked totally different from those elaborate grills displayed?
Well, I don't know. Would you call a pellet grill plain? Wow. I see a lot of people. They're starting to get like into pellet grills, but
at the competitions.
Yeah, people are using pellet competition. A lot are doing pellet grill stuff. So, but I would say but people are winning with them. So
Really?
it's just I can't. I didn't really get a chance to see all the people who won what exactly they were cooking on. I don't know if Garrett's still paying attention, but he went and got to hang out with one who's pretty frequently winning these things, and I don't know what it is that he cooks on, but if Garrett could chime in real fast and say what he did. But I see a lot of people starting to go to pellet grills, but I mean, really, to be honest with you, like the Weber kettles are there's a handful of them still out there, and that's what I use just because I'm familiar with it. But I'm sure people do win with them.
Okay. Well, a little surprised. It just seems like with a pellet grill, because you got to have power, connection to some type of a power source. So, how are they doing that? I mean, because I don't think the organizers are providing them with hookups, are they?
They run off their RVs. They got the auxiliary hookups and their generators from the RVs and stuff like that, whatever. But there a lot of generator companies. You're seeing like these little like generator or like power boxes that are about like yay big.
Yeah.
And there's looks like about the size of a car battery. And you charge them for a little, like, probably overnight, and they hold charge for about like 16 hours. and you're able to run a pellet grill off of them for about 8 hours, which is all you need for competition brisket.
Okay. Let's see. Now, actually, let me pull up. Let me make sure I get the right thing here. Okay, here we go. All right. So Garrett was saying, yeah, and you mentioned this that most KCBS teams use barrels. So what you talked about time management being like a really, key point, or a key factor, a challenge that has to be overcome. Is there another big challenging aspect about competition barbecue that people don't often talk about?
I guess what do you do if something is done way too early? For example, it kind of goes back to time management, but sometimes stuff just cook quicker than you're expecting, right? And you got to figure out a way to kind of keep it there until it's ready for turn-ins. You can't you can't keep it on your grill, so it's just. I guess you have to just kind of really think on your feet and be ready for whatever challenges that may come your way, and that's where you have to swallow your pride and communicate with your teammates, because you have to just hey guys, this is what I got going on, man. Like such and such is, I wasn't expected to be done for X amount of time, but I wanted at 200 and I'm already at 195, and I was still expecting about 2 hours, and we got 2.5 hours till turn in. What should we do to bring it back, whatever? So you got to talk to your teammates and just figure out and think collectively of what to do, and hopefully it ends up being good. What we end up doing is just putting it in a Cambro and holding it for just until the turn in, and just kind of cross our fingers of that it was the temperature on it was okay. But with everything you put a glaze back on it again just before you put it in your competition box. So it does heat up a little bit again, but not to the point where you would want it.
Now, how much do you or your team? How much do the teams that are competing interact? Is there any interaction going on, or is everyone kind of sticking to themselves?
No, man. It's everybody interacts with everybody, and everybody will probably tell you kind of what their method and kind of what their things. They're not going to tell you they're not going to tell you the money secrets that they learned and developed and all that stuff, whatever. But a lot of people, they'll kind of walk you through some of it over the process, because at the end of the day, you still have to do it, right? Say if we go golfing together and we're both looking at the same putt, and I do mine, and I kind of just miss it, and then you drain yours, but you watched how I did it, and I gave you the read and the speed and all that stuff, whatever. But you still have to execute, right? And you still have to pull it off, and you still have to do all this stuff and manage through all the time and all the elements, whatever. So, but there's, and I think that's a part of I love is the camaraderie, and so you're hanging out with these guys all weekend, and you become friends with them, and you see the same people at the two that we went to, the KCBS ones last year. We saw basically the same people. And we kind of befriended them, and but when you hear them get their name called, you're cheering loud for them, because you know the grind that you've all gone through together, So it's a lot of fun.
Cool. And then, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received from another competitor, or another competitor?
Practice and stick to your plan of just because you can't the more you practice, the better you're gonna get it, obviously, but it's just one of those things where it almost has to be second nature. When you get to all the work is done in the practice and prep work, and everything going up into the competition, and really the competition day should just be a day of hanging out and doing what you already done, more than a dozen times. So it just should be pretty, for the most part, it should be pretty smooth, but maybe some unexpected challenges here and there. But if you practice it, if you got through it, then it's okay. It'll work out.
All right. So all in all, I mean, Sounds like an awful lot of work, like a grind, but you know, like you mentioned, it's well, tell me again. So why do you do it? Like, what makes you, what keeps you coming back and competing again and again?
I it's funny hearing your name called because we've won not the KCBS ones, but we did I did a King of Tri-Tip competition with one of my teammates, and one of the ancillaries was also chili. So he did Tri-Tip and I did chili, and we got top five in chili and number two in brisket, and just that feeling from that of just like being there in the grind and hearing your name called, and just knowing that people appreciated what you did, it's pretty. It's unreal, I can't really describe it. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, nice. Another question: is it a good idea to have a supply of ice?
Yes, it depends on what your setup is, because we were fortunate to have an RV trailer, and so we ran everything through the electricity. But you want to have a backup plan in case your generator runs out of gas, or like for some reason the RV stops working. You want to have stuff to keep things cool, like your because you want your chicken to everything to be able to keep cool overnight. Because like I said, your meat inspection is 2:00 the day prior, which is almost a day and a half. So like, okay, 2:00, about 12 hours before like most people start cooking. So you want to maintain its health standards, of, if you want to call it that, before you start cooking. You don't want it just sitting out, and if you don't have ice, if something breaks down, then you're kind of screwed. But you can go, you can leave, like once you get checked in and do all this stuff, you could exit the campsite and go take care of what you need to. But it is good to have ice on hand, and honestly, like, just to grab some and put some on your neck if it's hot outside, to just cool you off for a second.
Right.
Helps out.
Now, so obviously, the KCBS sanctioned events, you're going to be turning in the 4 different types of meats. Do you know offhand how the backyard differs? Is it the same number of meats?
So the backyard is just chicken and ribs, but it's the same scoring system is done for it, but you're just only doing just the two turn-ins. But what a lot of people do is they go and they start off as a backyard team, or like a handful of them did. I wouldn't say like a lot of people. I would say a handful of them have done it at both of them. Where they start off as a backyard team, and then they just like, what, screw it, let's go master, and they go get their stuff and get inspected in time, and then they do the whole master series. So it's but it's essentially the same, but it's just not doing those too long cooks with the pork and the brisket.
And then on the master series, there are entry fees, right, in order to compete. So what do the entry fees look like?
I would say like $275-ish.
Okay.
I can say off the top of my head, but it's but if you separate it, like 4 ways, it's not horrible.
And then no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, but where it gets expensive is like when you get into the brisket, like Steak River Farms briskets, they're like $200, right. And I think Garrett, who was asked that question about dealing with your teammates or whatever, but annoying teammates, but he bought a couple of the compact Duroc ribs, and I think it was $70 for 2 racks of ribs. But that's the kind of stuff you need to do for it. But but the prize purse is pretty. I think it's $1,500 for first place, I want to say, in each category. So if you're consistently winning it, is the back end payoff is pretty good. So I guess that's kind of another reason why you would keep going, is to get the payout purses. But ultimately, like, to get the invitation to the Jack Invitational, like that, that's kind of a dream of mine.
The Jack Invitational. So what is that? So
like all the is it the Royal or the Invitation, like the Jack, like one of the two? So like all these all these local competitions, like every state that sends one person to, I believe it's the Jack Invitational. And if anybody knows offhand which one it is exactly, because there's 2 in October. There's the Jack Invitational and the American Royal.
Right.
But when you are the grand champion for each competition, you get like a lottery ticket. So like for California, there's four or five. I think there's 10 competitions in California actually. So like if you go compete and you win all 10 of those events, you get 10 balls dropped in that hat for that, and then they draw your number, and then you get that golden ticket to the one of the big events like the invitational.
Oh, wow.
The invitational event. So like, but a lot of people are going to, I believe Arizona. I think they only have 2 qualifying events. So if you win both of those, you're pretty much a lock to go into those invitational events. So that's why some people travel to those ones.
And do you know where the invitational events are? Like the Jack and the Royal?
I know for sure that the Jack is Jack Daniels. It's in Tennessee, and I think maybe the American Royal is somewhere around there also. I couldn't say off the top of my head.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Garrett says, yeah, the Jack Daniels World Invitational Barbecue Competition. Okay. And then, so again, if you're thinking about getting started, maybe you don't necessarily want to, go all in and compete with the other masters. Maybe you do the backyard competition. But then I think another alternative are the competitions held by the Steak Cook-Off Association, right? SCA. So have you done that?
Yeah. Before I forget, though, I just want to say hi to Matt. He jumped on there a little bit ago and said that's the homie Jerad. So what's up, Matt? But with the SCA, I that's something I really do want to get into, just because I like cooking steak, and it's not as it's not as long of a cook as I don't think as big of a grind. But I can't say that because I don't know. But I haven't been able to find one in California yet. I think the closest one I've seen was in Arizona. But I want to look into doing one of those. But that's a whole different animal of everything. And with the steak, it's like you got on top of the tenderness, you got to get those perfect sear marks on it. So it's pretty intense.
Yeah, no, I don't really know a lot about the SCA, but I feel like I've seen, and maybe this was before COVID, where they had an SCA event like in Simi Valley. I don't know why that's in my head, but I don't know if that's still true or not.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably do, but I think they're not as like from what what I've seen is I don't think they're the places they have them is consistent with the KCBS one. So you might get one year somewhere and maybe not the next, but I guess I really haven't paid enough attention to that yet to really know. But I'm going to start paying attention to more of it, because I do want to sign up for one of those.
Okay, and from what I've heard, I hear that they're a lot of fun too. So
yeah, they're all pretty fun. But even those like little backyard ones. Garrett, he was the one about asked the question about the annoying teammate, but there was another one that we had a couple weeks ago. It was a backyard one that's an annual backyard one that it basically started off as someone's birthday party, and it turned into a competition among friends, and then they opened up to the public so other people go. So I think there was about 15 teams, but Garrett won. He won first in ribs, second in chicken, and second in tri-tip. So, and he's one of my teammates on the KCBS stuff. So, but we had fun, and I wanted to compete with him, but the organizer of that one for whatever reason wouldn't let me do it. So I was collecting the turn in boxes.
Nice. All right, guys. So as a reminder, the podcast is sponsored by my own barbecue membership, which is the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. Jerad is a member of that. I think that's the same Jeff who bought the brush I think he's also the same Jeff that I'm thinking of is a member as well, and as well as correctional officer for lockdown. And we're going to get to your question in just a second, Bruce. So it's a growing community, bunch of great guys. So try to keep the conversation going, and really the goal is to share our experiences and keep each other motivated in a private membership community that is accessible. And it's a lot like Facebook, but we're not on Facebook, so there's not a whole bunch of distractions about a bunch of other stuff. It's all just geared about barbecue with guys who love sharing their experiences about barbecue. So if you'd like to become a member, we'd love to have you. Just scan the QR code or go to backyardsmokemaster.com/society, and you can get more information about that. All right, let me get to correctional officer's question. So on average, how many bags of charcoal do you use for a competition? For a starter entering a backyard competition, what would you recommend?
What? So, what kind of charcoal, or what kind of like how much of it, or both?
You can answer it both ways.
Okay, so we're sponsored by Fireball Charcoal. It's a Cape
Oh,
Rancho
nice.
Blanco. It's like Cape Rancho is it's all the Jealous Devil is also the same thing as it's just that kind of charcoal is I love it because the off, like, it's not really much of an off flavor when you cook with it. Like if you cook with like a mesquite lump, you can definitely tell you're cooking with a mesquite. But with the Cape Rancho Blanco, like Fireball, from here on I'm just gonna say Fireball, but that's what it is. I would recommend Fireball, obviously, because that's one of our sponsors. But Jealous Devil is they make the same charcoal, is essentially the same thing. But as far as the amount of it goes, I think we used and what I like about the Fireball, actually, this is a good point to share, that is the lumps of it aren't as big. So like when I use the Jealous Devil, I got a big bag of the lump, and I had to dump the bag out, and I had to sort through the bags the big lumps of it, because I couldn't use those for the Weber kettle that I was using, because the fire got too hot and intense for me to use it. So I had to take out all the smaller ones that I wanted to use, and to put them in on the side of the kettle there. But so the Fireball charcoal, the lumps aren't as big, so it just makes it easier. And out of the bag, it's easier to manage. But I said there's 2 8-pound bags that I use to manage a cook for the chicken, and so it wasn't a whole lot. And I would say probably a bag of charcoal for or maybe half a bag of charcoal for brisket, and maybe half a bag of charcoal for the pulled pork, just because they're longer cooks.
Got it. Okay. All right, then getting back, yeah, that is the Jeff that I was thinking of, who is also a society brother. So again, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that. And let's see, Foxtrot Barbecue says that Jealous Devil can be a pain just cooking at home due to the size consistency issues.
That's what I was talking about. Matt uses a Masterbuilt Gravity Series, one of the Gravity smokers, and it's like you have to sort through all those big chunks to get through what you want to actually feed through his smoker there. So I think that's kind of what he's talking about. There, those big chunks are good for, because I also cook a lot with the Santa Maria, which I like the bigger chunks for that, because you just put it in there and it goes. But it is nice when the sizes of the charcoal are consistent, especially for competition.
Right. Okay. All right. And thank you to Garrett, who said he just signed up, got a new member to your society today. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. All right, it gave me a reason to use one of these, these sound effects. So again, definitely appreciate it.
Can we get a sound effect for Jeff for purchasing a basting brush?
Oh yeah. Let me. Yeah. Right on, Jeff. All right. And then another society brother, Bruce, aka Correctional Officer for Lockdown, says, "Welcome aboard to Garrett. The society is truly with great people." Absolutely. So again, I appreciate the support and can't wait to chop it up with you inside of the society. Absolutely. All right. Well, again, thank you to everyone, and thank you, for coming on and enlightening us about competition barbecue, and I think we'll definitely have some more conversations, both inside of the society as well as here on the podcast. So again, I know we had talked about maybe having you come back onto the podcast in the future, and we can tackle some more stuff. So again, thank you, Jerad. I do appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, yeah, I love to be on again. If you have me again, it's a good
Absolutely.
time. I like sharing stories and all the good stuff. It's fun just any way I can help someone out, because that's what it's all about. Is just kind of helping each other and encouraging each other, whatever. And if I can encourage one person to jump into a competition, and then we've done our job. And it sounds like the correctional officer sounds like he's fairly interested in it. So if you could put my the grill spec one up on there, if you're on Instagram,
okay.
whatever,
Yeah.
just send me a message on there, and if you ever have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any question you have about that.
Well, and also you guys can interact because you guys are both in the Backyard SmokeMaster Society as well. So you can message each other, direct from in there, or just start a topic, and chop it up there, or like Jerad said, you can reach out to him on his Instagram. Let me see if I can remember where the heck did I put the Instagram. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. So you can go to Grill Spec on Instagram, and you can get more information, and you can interact directly with Jerad from there as well. All right, everyone. Well, thanks again for tuning in to the Backyard SmokeMaster BBQ Podcast. I'm your host, Kenyatta Robinson. I do appreciate, your support. Tell a friend about us. We're here most every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Central, 10 Eastern Time. And this is what we do. We're a community that likes to come together and talk about all things barbecue, and we encourage everyone to get out there, enjoy their grills and smokers, have a great weekend, have a great Super Bowl weekend. Perfect time to get out there if you haven't been on your grill or smoker in a while. Super Bowl is a great time to put some stuff together for your Super Bowl party. So I hope everyone has a fantastic Super Bowl, wonderful weekend. Thanks again, Jerad, and I'll see you in the society, and we'll see you back on the show.
Absolutely.
Soon.
It was a pleasure to be on here. Thanks again for having me, and thanks to everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we'll catch up on the society and at the next podcast. Have a good weekend, everybody.
All right. Have a great weekend. Thanks again, everyone.